When a spouse passes away, leaving an IRA or 401k to their surviving spouse, should the surviving spouse take it as a spousal rollover or as an inherited IRA? As a surviving spouse, you are the only beneficiary who could roll over your spouse's IRA into your own IRA. It might seem like a no-brainer, the only choice, but as the old song goes, it ain't necessarily so. Deciding to go with a spousal rollover versus an inherited IRA has everything to do with the relative ages of you and your spouse, especially if there's a significant difference in your ages, and how those ages relate to the two IRS concepts of the pre-59.5 early withdrawal penalty and the post-72 penalty for not taking a required minimum distribution. Let's consider Karen, who's 54 when her husband Jim dies at age 65. If Karen just goes with a spousal rollover, remember she's under 59.5, any money she takes out in the next 5.5 years till she is 59.5 will be subject to the 10% early withdrawal penalty. If Karen had taken it as an inherited IRA, should she need money for that 5.5 year period, she would be able to take it out without incurring a penalty. With the inherited IRA, she'd be able to defer the required minimum distributions for another 7 years until the point in time at which Jim would have turned 72. And when Karen turns 59.5, she could always at that point in time do a spousal rollover into her own IRA and defer required minimum distributions for another 12 years until the point in time in which she would turn 72. Now let's look at Lori, who's 74 when her younger husband Bob dies at age 61. If Lori goes with a spousal rollover, even though Bob was only 61, she's 74, so she'd have to start taking required minimum distributions right away. If instead she had elected to go with the inherited IRA, she would have had the option to defer required minimum distributions for another 11 years, the point at time in which Bob would have become 72. In the meantime, she could always take distributions penalty-free should she need the money before then. Another variation with the inherited IRA, created by the Secure Act, may be the ability to take no required minimum distributions, but all the funds must be distributed from the account by the end of the 10th year. This is subject to change and interpretation by the IRS, so be sure you check with your tax advisor before electing that option. If you elect to go with a spousal rollover, it's irrevocable. The inherited IRA is not. You can take it as an inherited IRA and then at any point in the future, choose at that point in time to roll it over into your own IRA via the spousal rollover option. Oh, don't forget to update the beneficiaries on your own accounts. Keeping your beneficiaries up to date is so important. I made a video just on that topic. I'll put a link to it here and in the description below. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.